Joe Tessitore was on SmackDown tonight. Joe Tessitore is the new play-by-play voice for this show. I'm gonna talk like Joe does. And during the show tonight, he made a comment. We were about midway through the show. And he called tonight's show outrageously entertaining. They were going to commercial break. What an outrageously entertaining show we are having here tonight. I thought, is he calling the same show that I'm watching here? It was an outrageously entertaining show in the third hour. Actually, outrageously entertaining is overselling it, but the third hour was most definitely the best of the three. It was outrageously boring for the first 2 hours of this show, and then it picked up in hour number 3. But what you saw tonight was a great example of what SmackDown really is. And what SmackDown is a 2-hour show. SmackDown is what happens when you have a 2-hour show that you have to stretch to 3 hours. That is where we are right now with this SmackDown show. Now, to be fair, there are several faces that are missing, either because of injuries or they just had the night off, whatever it was. So it doesn't help that they're missing certain people. But this show, one thing that is apparent to me is that it is in dire need of a shakeup. And one would think, this transfer window that they keep talking about, and they mentioned it a bunch of times again tonight on the show. We're in the middle of a transfer window, right? We have no idea how long this transfer window is going to go on for. It's going to go on infinitely, right? It can go on for the rest of the year if they wanted to. But you would think that, when you are in the middle of this transfer window, that you would actually transfer some people. So far, the only people really that have been transferred are the announcers. They did an announcer swap. They had one announcer who wasn't even on the show anymore. That's about it. That has to change. Very clear to me after watching this show tonight that has to change. And they could tap into NXT as well. We're not just talking about bouncing people back and forth between Raw and SmackDown. That has to happen too. Drew McIntyre, I believe, was at the show tonight, although he might only be there for a dark match. McIntyre is an example of somebody who absolutely should end up on SmackDown. Chad Gable and American Made. I mean, again, I've talked about this already. People that could be moved from Raw to SmackDown. But you could shift talent from NXT as well. We haven't seen any of that so far. But like Roxanne Perez is a great example of that. Roxanne Perez, now that she has lost her NXT Women's Championship, as she did this week to Julia, she is a prime candidate now for a main roster call-up. They could easily move her over to SmackDown. You look at the NXT roster, and I'm sure you could find 3 or 4 or 5 other people, male and female, who can be shifted to the main roster. And that is something that SmackDown right now is in dire need of. We are back to Cody Rhodes and the Bloodline. At least for tonight, we were. Cody Rhodes and the Cody Rhodes, he cannot quit these people. No matter what he does, no matter how he tries to distance himself from the Bloodline, or again, the Wish version of Bloodline. Pick your version, pick your poison of which Bloodline you're talking about here. It's all one Bloodline. He just cannot escape them. And he was actually in the main event tonight teaming with Jimmy Uso against Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga in what was an unannounced main event. And this was a common theme on the show tonight. We actually had several matches that were unannounced. Because when I put the preview together for tonight's stream, I go through the card on WWE.com. So I can put in there, what we're expecting on the show tonight. And we had one match. We knew Tiffany Stratton would be on the show after her big Money in the Bank cash-in last week. But we had one match announced. That was the United States title match between LA Knight and Shinsuke Nakamura. Didn't know anything else that was happening. Right before showtime, they announced the women's U.S. title match. But we had an unannounced main event, and both women's matches, actually, were not announced until the very last minute or during the show itself. We had a fatal 4-way match to determine a number 1 contender for the WWE Women's Championship, which you would think would be a pretty big deal. And as I said, we had a women's U.S. title match, Chelsea Green defending against Michin. So that was on the show as well. And this is what happens when you go from 2 hours to 3. What I mean by that is, it's very obvious why this happens. If you had a 2-hour show, a lot of this stuff would be announced in advance. When you have 3 hours, you have to kill time. They didn't make the best use of their time tonight, but they have 3 hours to kill. And so what do you see? You see a lot of people who are going to be in repeat segments, right? Backstage or out in the arena. But you need to have segments on the show that eat up television time and then create a match that was previously unannounced. And that's what we had tonight with the main event. That's what we had tonight with the women that were in the 4-way match. We had segments on the show that kill 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to create matches that take place later in the show. Roman Reigns was not on the show tonight, but someone who was Jacob Fatu. In fact, Jacob Fatu was all over this show tonight, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing for what it means for the future, because Jacob Fatu is this close. He's this close from breaking out on his own. Not quite there yet, but I was hoping we would see some forward movement in that direction tonight, because we're coming off Tribal Combat on Raw this Monday night. Solo Sikoa lost the Ula Fala to Roman Reigns. Solo Sikoa lost for the Bloodline in War Games, and now he lost for the Bloodline in Tribal Combat. And as Solo Sikoa himself once told Paul Heyman on this television show, losing has consequences. When will losing have consequences for Solo Sikoa? We didn't find out tonight because Solo Sikoa was not on the show tonight. He'll be back next week. But you know who was there? Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. And Jacob Fatu, first of all, I love that little promo that he cut in the back before he came out for the main event. There's an intensity that he brings to everything that he does, even just a backstage interaction, let alone a match or a brawl or a promo. I just think he's fantastic. But all the more reason when I saw that promo to want to see more of him once he breaks free on his own and he's not standing in the shadow of someone else. You know, he's not a follower, he's a leader. That time will come, hopefully sooner than later. But it gets me excited for what's to come because he could be a top player for them. When I say top player, I'm talking top 3. That's what Jacob Fatu can be in the long term. So he was all over the show in backstage segments and out in front of the crowd. He was in the main event, and he picked up the win as well in the main event. But I mentioned Roman Reigns was not on the show tonight. He won Tribal Combat on Monday. Now he gets a little vacation. We probably won't see him until January 27th, which is the final Raw before the Royal Rumble, because if you saw Raw Monday night, there was a segment in the back with Roman and Paul Heyman where they specifically mentioned something about January 27th. So I don't know if there's going to be some sort of acknowledgement ceremony on that show. That was where they went into a locker room and it had the 2K25 logo on the door. Maybe it's something that's just tied into the video game. I don't know. But he was not on the show tonight, but we did get some big news from Paul Heyman, who was. And Paul Heyman, on behalf of Roman Reigns, made the announcement tonight that the Tribal Chief himself will be entering his first Royal Rumble match in 5 years. So Royal Rumble will have a lot of big names in the match this year, Roman Reigns being one of the biggest. Usually he's on that show defending his championship and screwing over Kevin Owens, which has happened multiple times at the Royal Rumble. But now he will officially be in the Rumble match. And we had 2 U.S. title matches tonight, not only with the women, but as I mentioned, LA Knight and Shinsuke Nakamura. This was not the best episode of SmackDown, even though I liked the second hour and the first hour were no good. The third hour, though, was the best part of the show. But to get to the third hour, my God, the journey that we took to get there was not worth the trip. That was the story of SmackDown tonight. And now we get to talk about it because it's the end of the week. We've made it to the end of the week. And this is your Friday Night SmackDown review. It is January 10th. We are already in double digits of this month, 2025. I am the Solomonster, but you already knew that. Last I checked, we were less than 10 subscribers away from 83,000. So I don't know if it'll happen tonight, but we are very, very close. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button as we climb our way to 83K. Hit that like button as well so we can hit our goal and do some Be the Booker a little bit later. And super chats are open. I've added a bunch of new ones. You'll find them in the description. 3 of them this week, in fact, have been added. I'll let you figure out what's what. But those are up right now. And I'm going to go through all of your messages, and you'll see them popping up on your screen as well. There's one. But thank you for all of the support this week, both on Monday night for the big Raw debut on Netflix. Biggest Raw review in a very long time, and then Dynamite on Wednesday as well. One of our new ones.
You suck.
Come on, man. The Hulkster wants to know why. Why are you booing Jimmy Hart? What did Jimmy ever do to you? We were back this week with the... You're traumatized, huh? Traumatized by Be the Booker from Wednesday night.
Ghoul.
And
He's a Ghoulber.
Ghoulber.
That match at WrestleMania.
Fucking Ghoulber. So I have to explain this. I have to explain this, okay? Because there's going to be people go, what the hell was that? Now, as you know, JD and I do Tuesday Night Titans every Tuesday night. So we took 2 weeks off. We were back with TNT on Tuesday. And we were talking. We were having a conversation about Gunther and Goldberg. And for whatever reason, as I began to speak, I sort of blended the two together. And I started saying ghoul. And it just, for whatever reason, I don't know why. Maybe because that's kind of how I look at Goldberg here as he prepares to come back for his retirement match, right? Goldberg is on his way back. And so, yes, Goldberg has been born. Goldberg has now become a thing. Actually, Goldberg has been added to Be the Booker as well. So who knows? He may pop up tonight for all we know. But every time I watch that back, I just start cracking up.
Watch me. Say hello to Liver Morgan. You know you want me, baby.
Liver Morgan is with us tonight. M. Mills, thank you. Liver Morgan, also now joining. We have a whole cast of characters here on the stream. We have Liver Morgan, and we have Goldberg, and we have, you never know who's going to pop up here. We were back with the blue ring mat tonight. Let's get into this here. We were back with the blue ring mat, which we first saw on the show last week. Thankfully, it is not besieged by corporate logos and sponsorships, at least not yet. Give it time. But unlike Monday, there are no logos on the mat here on Friday. One thing they did adopt, though, from Monday are the dark gray referee shirts with the black striping, which I think looks good. And so now that is sort of the new uniform for all referees in WWE. I don't know if it's like that on NXT, but that is the new referee attire on these shows. Joe Tessitore, as I mentioned, was on commentary tonight. He sounded very off. I don't know what it was, but he was not on his A game tonight. I'm sorry. Wade Barrett was with him, and not on SmackDown was Corey Graves. Corey Graves, for those who don't know, has been added to the NXT announce team. Now, I don't know what that means as far as WWE's PLEs are concerned. My assumption is that we're still going to get Michael Cole and Corey Graves, but nothing has been said. But Corey Graves has been moved off the main roster shows to NXT. And all I know is that when I tuned into the beginning of NXT this week and they showed the announcers and they introduced him, he did not look very happy. He did not look outrageously entertained to be there. And so I don't know exactly what the idea is behind this. I sort of assume we were getting a 3-man booth on Fridays. Instead, we now have one on Tuesdays because Vic Joseph and Booker T are still going to be a team, but they have added Corey to that team. So unless that was something he requested, and I can't imagine that it was, like I said, he did not seem very happy about being there, even though The Rock was on the show. It was a big night for NXT. The Rock was there. They pulled almost 1 million viewers. I can't tell you how many people sent messages to me You see, NXT, it's on the rise. You got to start reviewing it again every week. NXT is the big thing. And I go, do you honestly believe, do you not realize why they did 957,000 viewers this week? Because I can. It's 4 little letters, ROCK. And when ROCK is no longer on NXT, as he won't be next week, they ain't getting 957,000 viewers. So pipe down. But good for them. In fact, they're airing a replay of NXT on the CW network tomorrow night. I assume because it was preempted out in California, or parts of California, because of the wildfires. But they're replaying it tomorrow. And that's going to be a tough pill to swallow if and when NXT does a better number than Collision, because you know people are going to be comparing the two. And if a replay of NXT on Saturday does a better rating than a first run Collision, all hell's going to break loose online. And that's exactly what I expect to happen. So I guess we'll wait and see. But after running down the key highlights from the Raw Netflix debut on Monday, including Roman Reigns winning Tribal Combat, Paul Heyman was in the ring, and he was waiting for us once they came back live. Heyman said it's one of the greatest honors of his entire career to announce that there is only one reigning, defending, undisputed Tribal Chief in WWE, and his name is Roman Reigns. And Heyman said that Reigns authorized him to let the fans know what he intends to accomplish next. But he wasn't just going to share it with everybody at home and everybody in the building. He wanted to share it with a man who deserved to hear the news face to face. The undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes. And he invited Cody out to the ring, and out Cody came. And so Heyman kissed his ass for a little bit, and he said that Cody has earned the respect of Roman Reigns. What is this guy, the Godfather? You got to kiss the ring? You've earned Roman's respect. Gives a shit. If I'm Cody Rhodes, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. I drop you with a crossroads. So, he's earned the respect of Roman Reigns. And he's here on behalf of Roman to let Cody know that he intends to take back the WWE Championship. And the way in which he's going to do that is by entering himself into the 2025 Royal Rumble match. And then he asked Cody, so what do you want to talk about? And before Cody could speak, he was interrupted by Kevin Owens, or the voice of Kevin Owens, because he wasn't coming out to the ring. We couldn't see him. We don't know where he was. We could hear him. And then they cut to the crowd, and he was standing on one of the staircases in the crowd. No Winged Eagle belt this week. We may not see the Winged Eagle again until the Royal Rumble. Owens said that just when he thought it couldn't get worse, Cody goes and he shook hands with The Rock on Monday night. Why, he said. Why indeed? Why? Because apparently they're not wrestling at WrestleMania, so it doesn't fucking matter anymore. Now, he did pin Cody. The Rock can always say that he pinned Cody Rhodes on night 1 of WrestleMania last year. And then, of course, they shot the angle on TV that Monday. But apparently there's a pretty good chance that match ain't happening this year. But he says then he's out here shaking hands now with Paul Heyman. And he says, see, 30 seconds later, he's already challenging you and telling you that they intend to take the WWE title away from you. Roman Reigns wants your belt. He should have let the bloodline tear Roman to shreds on Monday night, but now look what's happened. I like how they weaved Rock hugging Cody and endorsing Cody into this. Because again, I mean, in the context of like the storylines, it is ridiculous when you consider the last time we saw Rock, I guess, was Bad Blood. And he didn't really do anything, but he kind of stared down Roman and Cody. But before that, it was WrestleMania and the Raw after WrestleMania last year. And so now, all of a sudden, almost a year later, Rock being back on the show, putting over Cody hard, and then hugging him and drinking tequila with him. Yes, I could see where people would look at that and go, what the fuck is this? Right? I thought we were going this way, and now it appears that's not the case. But again, that only makes sense if they've completely given up on the idea of doing Rock and Cody, because then it doesn't matter. But I said this on Monday, if they were to do Rock and Cody, all it would take is one angle, one turn on TV to get things back on track. As goofy as that was to see on the actual show on Monday, I'm not even talking about like the Instagram stuff. One angle is, I mean, let's be honest, one angle is all it would take to get the train back on the tracks. But they weaved it into here, and they did it in a way where Kevin Owens can now turn around and say, see, I was right. He was even wearing a t-shirt that says Kevin is right or Kevin was right, because he thinks he's right. This only makes the argument stronger. So as Owens continued to ramble on, Cody left the ring, and he hopped the barricade, and he met Owens on the staircase in the crowd. They started fighting up the steps onto the concourse somewhere. So we lost sight of them. Meanwhile, cut back to the ring. Paul Heyman has his back turned in the ring and doesn't realize that he is alone in the ring with Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. Then he turns around and he realizes it, and he's all by himself. He's trapped in the corner. He's got nowhere to go. Jimmy Uso's music hits. Jimmy runs out for the save. He grabs a chair. He hits Fatu and Tonga with it. All that did was wake up Jacob Fatu. He hits Jimmy with a flying elbow, and now both of them are working Jimmy over. At one point, Fatu, he super kicked a referee in the face, and all the other referees rightfully were scared then to get into the ring. Cody finally makes his way back through the crowd towards the ring. He threw Tama Tonga outside, and then Fatu and Cody, they faced off. He clotheslined Fatu out of the ring, and that was the end of that. So no Solo Sikoa on this show. He is still licking his wounds from Tribal Combat the other night. He was too scared to be on the show tonight and show his face. Because I was hoping, look, as I said, Solo losing in War Games and losing the Ula Fala. The Ula Fala was like his power source. The Ula Fala was the reason why these men follow him. They follow him in the first place. And now he no longer has it. And so even if they didn't do the turn tonight, where Jacob and Tama, they turn against him, they discard him, they attack him, there needs to be a push in that direction very, very soon. There needs to be even just breadcrumbs that are left on television to indicate that we are heading in that direction. Because there is really no reason anymore for these men either of these men, to stand behind Solo Sikoa like his lapdogs and be at his beck and call. There's no reason for it anymore. We have gotten to the point now where Solo has nothing left. He doesn't even have his pride. Why would they follow him? Are they? I guess they're that honorable? No. So he wasn't on the show tonight. They couldn't shoot the angle, but there has to be consequences for losing, and I hope he's going to be back next week. Hopefully we will start to see signs of that. If not, just full-blown, just have them attack him. Because you don't even have to do it next week. You could build to something in the Royal Rumble match. I saw somebody in the chat just before I went live about how Fatu's going to eliminate a bunch of people. Would not at all shock me. I see him having the Diesel spot in this year's Royal Rumble. He'll end up dumping at least half a dozen people out of that match. One of those people, maybe it's Solo Sikoa. Because I think the direction for WrestleMania is Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. That would be one way to begin to build towards that. But that has to be the direction that we are going. And it can't just be, okay, another loss for Solo. He dusts himself off. And what's next for the new bloodline? No. What's next for the new bloodline is the end of the new bloodline as we know it. And if you want to keep that secondary group alive, you can certainly do so. But after Solo is kicked out, and you can bring Hikuleo in. And then it's Jacob and the three Tongans. But we didn't get any of that tonight. Roman Reigns being in the Royal Rumble match is a big deal because he has not been in the Royal Rumble match since 2020. So it'll be the first time in a long time, just like if Charlotte Flair wins the Royal Rumble this year, right? It'll be her first win in 5 years. They probably figure she's due. But Roman being in there is just another big name that they have now added because so far, and it's still early, we're still a little under a month away, but so far in the Royal Rumble match, we have John Cena, we have CM Punk, who after the show on Monday appeared to throw his name in the hat, and now Roman Reigns. Cena, Punk, and Roman. You have to imagine Seth Rollins will end up in there, Drew McIntyre will end up in there. So this Rumble, star power-wise, is shaping up to be a pretty big one, maybe the biggest in years. So I'm looking forward to that. Any way to spice up the Royal Rumble, get some big names in there. And, heading into WrestleMania, we have so many rumors flying around about potential directions for what Cody is going to do, and what Punk is going to do, and what Roman is going to do. That you put them all in there, especially if these guys end up in like the Final Four or something like that. It could be unpredictable. It could be one of the more unpredictable Rumble finishes that we've had in a very long time. Backstage, after a break, Fatu and Tama Tonga, they were shown being thrown out of the building, or security was attempting to throw them out of the building. Fatu started fighting back. He yelled at this one young security kid. This poor kid probably shit himself. And he's yelling at him and telling him, you better be thinking about your life right now, because there ain't no way you're getting me out of this building. Until LA Knight showed up. And then LA Knight grabbed Fatu and literally threw him through the exit door out of the building. And then he said he didn't use his inside voice, so he put his ass outside. He says, I got a title to win later. And I thought, well, there's Fatu's next victim. Boy, is that going to come back to bite this guy in the ass. And it did. There are consequences for these things. We had Chelsea Green taking on Michin for the Women's United States Championship, or as Lillian Garcia calls it, because I noticed this is a pattern with her. Pay attention the next time Lillian Garcia announces a championship match, and the way that she says it. According to Lillian, this was a championship. It's for the Women's United States Championship. This is for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm not criticizing. I just find it funny. I just find it funny. That's all. So Michin had control early until Chelsea threw her into the barricade outside. Michin made it back into the ring to beat the count. Chelsea, though, maintained control heading into a commercial. They come back from break. And Chelsea is working the always exciting chinlock. Michin countered out of it with a back suplex, and then she landed a shotgun dropkick, and she did her long back attack, which is not the name that they used for it on commentary this week, but that's the name that Michael Cole called it last week. He was very excited, too. He said that Michin calls it the long back attack. And Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett either were not clued in about this, or it's been dropped after a week. I don't know. I was kind of surprised to hear them say it at all last week. Like, what? That's quite the name to give to, it's not really a move, but quite the name to give to one of your own moves. But yes, this week it was not the long back attack. Basically, she was twerking is what she was doing. So Chelsea went to the top, missed the drop kick. Michin went to the apron, kicked Piper Niven in the face, and then she went to the top, hit a crossbody, but Chelsea rolled through and then held onto the tights and picked up the win. After the match was over, Michin tried dragging Chelsea back inside, telling her, I'm not done with you. I'm not finished with you. Piper got back in the ring, though, and hit a running senton on Michin that allowed Chelsea to scramble off. These two have had better outings against each other. I thought this was pretty average stuff. And so this feud will continue. Based on the way that they did that finish, I could see them running this back on the next Saturday night's main event, like they did the first one. Maybe with some other kind of stipulation. I mean, they had that dumpster match a few months ago. They're going to have to come up with some matches for Saturday night's main event. Yeah, they've already announced the women's title match for next week. The Royal Rumble is a week after Saturday night's main event. So what matches might we see on that show? Will we see a World Championship match on that show? I don't think Cody is defending a week before the ladder match. Is Gunther going to defend on that show? Maybe they could do Gunther and Goldberg. We could have Goldberg on Saturday night's main event. He's already supposed to be on Raw on the 27th, which is in Atlanta. That's the week before. Actually, no, that's 2 days after Saturday night's main event. Hey, you know what? Goldberg might be in the Royal Rumble as well. We may have John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Goldberg in the Royal Rumble this year. Very possible. In fact, I would bet on it. Although he did say he's going to have a retirement match. He just didn't say that that would be his only match. He just said he's going to wrestle his retirement match, right? That doesn't mean he can't be in the Royal Rumble. We had footage from last week's tag team title match that aired. And the Motor City Machine Guns were shown complaining to Nick Aldis earlier today. Pretty Deadly. And Los Garza were there as well. And then A-Town Down Under. They walked into camera frame, so they joined the group. They were teasing the possibility of leaving SmackDown with this transfer window because they don't like the way they've been treated and going to work for Adam Pearce over on Raw. So Aldis said, since Los Garza has issues with Pretty Deadly, you two teams are going to face each other tonight. And then also separately, the Motor City Machine Guns, you guys can wrestle Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. So we had 2 matches that were made. And see, this is what you get when you expand from 2 hours to 3. Because if this was a 2-hour show, we would have had a fatal 4-way match tonight. Instead, they broke it up into 2 matches because that's what they did. Can't say that these matches were anything out of this world, but one was better than the other. I'll tell you which one that was here in a minute. But that did lead into Los Garza against Pretty Deadly. They have changed Legado del Fantasma's music. Why? I have no idea. There was nothing wrong with it before, but now it's worse. Stop me if you've heard that before. I don't like the new music as much as the old music, and the old music was nothing terribly special, but it was better than what they have now. What necessitated this change beats the hell out of me. Los Garza, they jump-started the match, and Berto hit a suicide dive on Kit Wilson outside. After a break, Berto was playing defense. He was trying to make a comeback. He made the not-so-hot tag to Angel Garza, who fired up and landed a crossbody from the top rope. And then Angel did the spot where he rips his pants off, which used to be super over in NXT. And now, not so much these days. Interestingly, when I've done that same spot out in public, it doesn't seem to be quite as over as well as you would think. I don't know why. So Elton Prince, he planted Angel while the referee was distracted by Elektra Lopez. And with the referee still distracted, Santos Escobar, he crotched Elton Prince on the top rope. And from there, Los Garza hit their finish on Prince for the win. So it took Santos Escobar and Elektra Lopez and a distracted referee to defeat the dominant duo of Pretty Deadly. Amazing. All the help that they needed to beat Pretty Deadly. When was the last time Pretty Deadly won a fucking match? They needed all of this help to beat these guys. And Los Garza, you know, they worked the match as baby faces, which I'm sure had something to do with how apathetic. I mean, the crowd was very apathetic towards this match. And it's just not a role that the fans are used to seeing them in. So it wouldn't shock me if the fans were just like, well, I don't really have anybody to cheer for here because I don't really like either one of these teams. That's kind of what it felt like here during this match. Especially when you have Escobar and you have Elektra Lopez cheating at the end of this match. Like you would think, okay, well, that's what heels do. They cheat. But they were kind of the de facto baby faces here in this match. Los Garza, yeah, they could be a great babyface team. They could be if they were to start building them up with some credible wins. The problem is Pretty Deadly is not credible. You may like them, you may be entertained by them, but to call them credible would be a fucking joke. They're anything but credible. They're not credible. They're the guys you put in there to lose matches like this. But if they really wanted to get behind, you know, Angel and Humberto, they could do so. And like I said, let them rack up some wins, but I don't get the sense that's what the plan is here. In fact, I think this is where their winning ways come to an end because they would now meet the winner of the Motor City Machine Guns match later in the show. And I suspect that this will be the only win that Angel and Humberto are going to get in this whole thing.
I am the Lord.
Oh, look who it is. Hey, Sarah. Fuck that tree. Sarah is with us. Welcome back, Sarah. It's good to see you in the live chat. Hey, Base Beerus, thank you for the 12. Appreciate it.
Look, everyone, it's Samoa BRO.
And Samoa BRO joining us tonight as well. We had LA Knight, our second United States Championship match on the show. LA Knight challenging Shinsuke Nakamura for the U.S. title. Not a lot of heat for this through the first half of the match, although I think these two, they do work well together. Knight sent Nakamura outside, followed with a baseball slide to the floor. Then he repeatedly slammed Nakamura's head on the lid of the announce desk. Back inside, Knight clotheslined Nakamura over the top to the outside, but this time, Nakamura ran Knight into the ring post twice, and the show went to a picture-in-picture break. They came back, and Nakamura, he pulled one of the middle turnbuckle pads off. And then with Nakamura on the top rope, Knight ran towards the ropes, and thankfully he stuck the landing. He ran the ropes to the top and then hit a superplex for a near fall. Knight then sank in. I'm sure there's a name for it. It's basically just a reverse Boston Crab. It's just a move I've not seen him utilize before, which is good. It's good to add moves to your arsenal. It's like John Cena later in his career, right? People remember the U.S. title open challenge, but do you remember that John Cena added a move to his 5 moves of doom? He added a 6th move. He would do the leaping Hurricane Rana, and it didn't always look pretty, but I gave him points for trying at least. So LA Knight has added this move now to his arsenal, and he's got him locked in this reverse Boston Crab. Nakamura was trapped in the center of the ring. He did eventually make it to the ropes for a break. Nakamura went for an armbar. Knight rolled him up for a 2 count. And then Knight went for a BFT. Nakamura countered with the back elbow and then followed that up with a Kinshasa. But when he went for the pin, Knight was able to get his foot on the bottom rope. Nakamura then placed Knight's head on the exposed turnbuckle. So he's got him kind of pressed up against the buckle. And the idea now is that he's going to come charging in with a Kinshasa to the exposed steel. And as Nakamura comes in, Knight moves out of the way. He goes knee first into the steel. Knight then hits the BFT, but here comes Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. What a surprise. Here they come out of the crowd into the ring. They attack LA Knight to cause the disqualification. Fatu did a couple of running hip attacks, did the double jump moonsault tonight as they continued the beatdown. Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso, they ran out to make the save. This time, Cody was in his wrestling gear. And they double super kicked Fatu out on the floor. Fatu and Tonga retreated back into the crowd. Cody grabs a microphone because Nick Aldis is out here now. He's trying to kick these fucking guys out of the building. Cody gets on the mic and he stands on the turnbuckles. He's looking out into the crowd. He's begging Aldis. He's telling him, no. Don't kick them out. I want them in the ring tonight. So he proposes a tag team match. Cody and Jimmy against Fatu and Tama Tonga. Nick Aldis likes the sound of that, so he makes it official. And that is how we got our main event. As far as this U.S. title match, it was better than their Survivor Series match. But you had to know that finish was coming after what happened with Fatu earlier in the show. It does make me wonder, though, are we going to get a singles match with Jacob Fatu and LA Knight? Which, if we do, it's not going to go well for LA Knight. But I would think that we do get that match, if not next week, sometime in these next few weeks on TV. I still feel like Knight gets that U.S. title back. Because if he doesn't, I don't know where else he goes unless you move him to Raw. And you move him to Raw and he can challenge on Raw for the Intercontinental title. Because it's very clear to me that he does not fit anywhere into the world title picture right now. Unless he's going to go to the Royal Rumble and win, right? And there's just no sense of that happening. So him holding the U.S. title and regaining it is honestly the best thing for him. So I have to imagine that's still, unless he's being moved, I have to imagine that's still the direction that we're going in here. This, by the way, right here, as they were going into commercial, this was the point in the show where Joe Tessitore called tonight's show outrageously entertaining.
We have 2 more hours of this.
That's what I was thinking as I looked at the time. I said, oh God, we have 2 more hours of this. We had the Motor City Machine Guns against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. After a break, Waller and Theory, they're working over Alex Shelley. Theory then worked the always outrageously entertaining Chinlock. Waller tagged in. Shelley, though, ran Theory into Waller and then super kicked Austin Theory. Shelley tagged in Sabin, who went to the second rope and hit a missile drop kick on Grayson Waller. Shelley tagged back in, and the two of them landed stereo baseball slides. The Machine Guns followed that up with Sabin's suicide dive out to the floor. Late in the match, Sabin tagged in, took Waller out, and then they singled out Austin Theory, and they dropped him with their Skull and Bones finish for the win. Of the 2 tag team matches on the show, I mean, not counting the main event, obviously, but of the 2 tag team matches in this little sort of mini tournament, if you want to call it that, this was the better of the 2. And there were signs that, the Machine Guns are slowly, starting to win the crowds over a little bit more. The deeper they got into the match, the more animated and responsive the crowd, the crowd, singular, tonight was to them. So, that's a good sign. And winning matches will also help. So that was a good win for them. And now Los Garza takes on the Motor City Machine Guns next week. And the winners of that match will then challenge DIY for the tag team titles. I don't know where the Street Profits fit into all this, because they weren't even on the show tonight. They're not factored into this at all. But the winners of that match next week will challenge Gargano and Ciampa. Speaking of which, after this, they cut to the back, and Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, who were watching what just happened, were not very happy with what just happened. Pretty Deadly showed up, and they asked DIY, hey, how come you guys didn't come out to help us earlier, right? I thought we had an agreement here. You scratch our back, we scratch yours. So Gargano said, well, you'll get your title match eventually. You just need to trust us. And Ciampa looked very nonplussed by the whole thing. He basically had a look on his face like, what are you doing? Stringing these fucking guys along. After DIY left, Apollo Crews showed up. Apollo Crews didn't really hit me until tonight. Apollo Crews has basically become this generation's version of Just Joe. Now, if you were watching in the Attitude Era, and this is more like 2000, right? The year 2000. They had a character on the show. I don't remember who played him, but his name was Joe. And he would be walking around the backstage area, and he would be, as the kids say, they would be spilling the tea, right? He would be spilling the tea and all the gossip and basically spreading lies and bullshit and trying to pit people against each other. Oh, you'll never guess what so-and-so said about you. And nobody knew who he was. They're like, who are you? And he would go, I'm just Joe. That was it. That was his gimmick. I don't remember him wrestling a single match. Apollo Crews has become the Just Joe of this generation. He shows up here in this segment, and he says that if he's talking to Pretty Deadly now, he goes, if you guys are dumb enough to believe DIY, that you deserve everything coming your way. And then he walked off. This is the only way he's going to get television time. So I don't know what to make of this new gimmick. I have a feeling this gimmick of his will end up going the way of the Shelton Benjamin gimmick. Remember when Vince had him in those weird backstage segments? He didn't speak. He just kind of looked around like he was stroking out or something. That's the way this gimmick will probably end up going. But yes, Just Apollo. We'll call him Just Apollo. Apollo Snooze, that's not bad either. Actually, I like that better. Apollo Snooze. Hey, you know what? At least he's not just sitting down. He got tired of sitting in catering, so he just wants to go around and try to tell the truth where he feels like he can tell the truth. He has no tag team partner anymore. His partner got fired. He's got nothing to do. He's bored. Nia Jax was in the back. Candice LeRae tells her that Tiffany Stratton is on her way to the ring. Nia wondered what Tiffany was going to say and said that I'm going to go out there and congratulate her myself. And after a break, it was time for the new WWE Women's Champion, After her successful Money in the Bank cash-in last week, it's Tippy time. Tiffany Stratton comes out to be interviewed in the ring by Byron Saxton. And she says that in her first year on SmackDown and at the young age of 25 years old, she is already better than all of your favorites, and she is the new women's champion. Saxton brought up Nia Jax and them being best friends, and a lot of people are saying the reason Nia bullied you for so long. She cut him off, and she said, Nia didn't bully me. I befriended her. And she got Nia to trust her. Nia thinks she's stupid. Well, who's the stupid one now? She said that Nia thought she was naive, that she was just a dumb blonde. But Nia thought that because she let her think that. And she let her guard down, and when she did, she stole her women's championship, and she told the fans to put some respect on her name and tell her what time it is. But before they could, she got cut off by Nia Jax, or by her music. Nia walks out on stage with a mic, and she called Tiffany an ungrateful little shit, which of course they censored. Of course, if this was The Rock, he'd be out there. He would be calling her an ungrateful fucking shit, because what does he love his F-bombs? So Nia says that I could kill you right now. Tiffany would be nothing without her. I made you. She said that it took Tiffany long enough to take advantage. Now you're having your moment. Nia got into the ring. The fans were chanting Tiffy time. Nia said, time's up. Either you give me your championship or I'm going to take it from you. And then this brought out Bayley. Bayley's music interrupted. Here comes the parade. We've seen these segments before. Here comes the parade. Bayley walks out with a mic. She tells Nia to shut the hell up. And she told Tiffany that if that was your plan all along, you definitely got me because I just thought you were stupid. But she knows that Nia is stupid because she took Tiffany under her wing and she got outsmarted by her. She also got into the ring and told Tiffany that she hasn't forgotten that the only reason Nia won that title at SummerSlam is because of her. So she thinks that it's only fitting that she's the one who takes the title from Tiffany Stratton. Who's out next? Ah, yes. After Bayley was done with her spiel, she was then interrupted by Naomi, who came out with her tag team championship partner, Bianca Belair. Naomi said that everybody knows she had Nia beat last week, and if it wasn't for Tiffany, she would have 2 titles right now. So if anybody wants to fight Tiffany for the title, they need to see her first. Nia got up in her face, and then she bonked Naomi and Bianca's heads together. Then they all attacked Nia, all except Tiffany, who scaled the ropes and hit her prettiest moonsault ever onto the pile, knocking everyone down. So as Tiffany is leaving, Nick Aldis walks out, and he announced that all of the women in the ring would compete in a fatal 4-way match tonight to determine a number 1 contender for Tiffany's WWE Championship, and that match would be starting right now. The fans were largely positive here for Tiffany. I mean, as they have been really over the past year, because people like her, and she gets more cheers than boos. So she got more cheers than boos here too. It wasn't overwhelming, because she's still out there acting like a heel. And also keep in mind what she did last week. She didn't just cash in. She cost Naomi her title match against Nia. She hit her in the head with a briefcase. Right? She was a total dick to Naomi, and Naomi's a babyface and people like her, right? Feel the glow. People like Naomi. She screwed Naomi over completely last week. So there might be some fans who actually don't want to cheer for Tiffany Stratton because of that. But for the most part, she got a positive reaction here.
Ghoul.
And
He's a ghoulber.
Ghoulber.
See that match at WrestleMania.
Fucking Ghoulber. There he is. The man of the hour, Ghoulber. He'll be back very soon, everybody. You thought Halloween was over. It's only just beginning. Ghoulberg is on his way back very soon. we count down the days. So after a commercial break, my God. After a commercial break, it was Nia Jax, Bayley, Naomi, and Bianca Belair in a fatal four-way #1 contenders match. Hey, Base Beerus, thank you for the gifted membership. So Naomi and Bianca, they teamed up on Nia early in the match, but Nia suplexed them both at the same time, barely got them over. Babyfaces went after Nia. Nia pushed them all away. Bayley and Naomi, they locked up, and Naomi got the best of it early here, and the two of them traded some pin attempts. Bayley got pulled to the outside by Nia. Nia threw her into the barricade. So inside, Bianca tried to lift Nia, but that didn't happen. So Bayley went to the top. Nia cut her off. And so Nia climbs up, and she is going to deliver from the middle rope a Samoan drop to Bayley. But here comes Naomi and Bianca, and they end up, it's basically like a Tower of Doom, but with a Samoan drop. So as they slam Nia down, Nia slams Bayley down, and they're all down now. So that was the big spot, taking us into commercial. Later, it was Naomi and Nia again, just like last week. And Naomi landed a Russian leg sweep. Then she hit a split-legged moonsault for a near fall. Bayley then came off the top with a diving elbow drop onto Nia for a 2 count. Then it was Bianca's turn. And so she comes off the top and she connects with a 450 splash. But then Bayley breaks up the pin attempt. Then the babyfaces all tried to pin Nia at the same time. And the referee's like, what the fuck do you want me to do here? I can't do that. It's got to be one of you. So he wouldn't count. Candice LeRae now runs down to the ring, and she circles around because Nia's outside now. She goes over to check on Nia Jax. Meanwhile, Naomi and Bianca, they're working some double team moves in the ring on Bayley. That left the tag team champions alone. And the tag team champions were now face to face here in the middle of this ring. But instead of going at it, they decided to go in opposite directions. So Bianca dove out of the ring onto Bayley on the floor outside. On the opposite side, we had Naomi, who dove out of the ring, but Nia caught her and then drove her into the edge of the ring. Inside, Bayley hit her Bayley to belly on Bianca Belair, but Naomi broke up the pin. Naomi hit a rear view on Bayley, but Jax broke that pin attempt up. Bianca then lifted Bayley for a KOD, but Candice LeRae broke it up by yanking on Bianca's braid. And so as Bianca is trying to wrestle the braid away from her, she accidentally ends up whipping her tag team partner with it. That thing is like a freaking deadly weapon. Remember how great that gimmick was when she first started doing that, using her braid as a weapon in NXT? The noise that it would make in Full Sail, like it would echo, it would reverberate. It wasn't a huge building, but it would reverberate through the entire building. And the fans would just react to it in such a big way. And then it would leave like this welt. I'm sure taking it sucked. But I do miss those days. Every time she would hit that whip, like the reaction it got, people were just stunned by it. So anyway, she accidentally hit her partner. Nia and Bianca then took each other out over the announce desk. While back inside, Bayley dropped Naomi with the rose plant and she pinned her to become #1 contender. So Naomi comes up short yet again. This has been the story of her run here in WWE over the past year. Naomi falls short once again, this time at the hands of her supposed friend. And just adding more fuel to the fire for the eventual heel turn. But good stuff here from these four. This right here was the match of the night. I thought it was going to Nia, so the finish surprised me. I wasn't expecting it to be Bayley, but it's the better choice, honestly, because they could always save Tiffany and Nia for later on. Well, whatever. I mean, Saturday night's main event, because Bayley is getting her title match next week. They're not holding off on this until Saturday night's main event or the Royal Rumble. She's going to get it next week. So there's still time to do Tiffany and Nia. But Bayley winning makes sense to me because it gives Tiffany, she could take the loss. And Tiffany gets her first, not only her first successful title defense, but her first real credible win, by beating a former women's champion, a babyface, former women's champion. But also, we saw Bayley interacting with Adam Pearce backstage on Raw Monday night. So they were at least teasing the idea that she may move in the transfer window. If she's going to get traded, if she's going to move from SmackDown to Raw, then her losing to Tiffany Stratton on her way out, she's doing the loss coming out of the territory. It's basically what it would be. It's fine. It doesn't hurt her. It doesn't really mean anything to her. But to Tiffany, like I said, it would be a credible win for her to get under her belt to start her title reign. Cody and Jimmy were shown walking. Well, not walking, but talking. They're walking. They're talking. They're talking backstage. And Cody tells him he knew Roman would want his title back. He says it's all good, though. Right? They're all on good terms. Cody walked off. Jimmy's getting ready. And Carmelo Hayes walks up to him. And he starts talking shit. And Jimmy asked Mello, "What's your catchphrase again?" And he goes, Mello don't miss. And Jimmy said that, you don't be shooting nothing but bricks lately. And then he kind of did like a half yeet, and then he walked off. I should mention that in his little promo here, Carmelo Hayes name-dropped Braun Strowman, because he's been feuding with Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman was not on the show last week. He was not on the show this week. And I don't know when he's going to be back on the show. For those who missed it, Braun Strowman has been very sick. Apparently, he came down with a bad flu, but he lost 36 pounds over the past week. 36 pounds in 1 week. That's a whole other person. He lost that in a week. That must have been a hell of a fucking flu. But he says he's on the mend. He's not quite right yet, but he is on the mend, so best of luck to him, because that doesn't sound very pleasant at all. Or for anybody who has to share a bathroom with him in that household. I mean, that's... you lose 36 pounds in a week. I mean, I don't know what end it's coming out of. Probably both ends. But yeah, I don't want to be sharing a bathroom with that person. Although, to be fair, I'm sure Braun Strowman, with all the stuff that he eats, probably takes shits bigger than me. So Bayley was walking backstage and ran into Byron Saxton, who said that Bayley's match against Tiffany Stratton is going to be taking place next week. And Bayley pointed out that Tiffany has never beaten her. Shouldn't have said that. Should not have said that. They closed the show with Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso taking on Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. Before the match, they showed Fatu and Tama walking in the back. And we've seen Jacob do this a couple of times before. They get that shot of him walking, and he's cutting a promo before he walks through the gorilla position. So he's cutting a promo here, and he's very intense. And I didn't even really write down what he said. It didn't matter. Like, I love this. I love this because it's also just a small little glimpse into what we will get once Jacob is finally on his own. And people can sit up and take notice. That's what his promos do. They make you sit up and take notice to what he's saying, because it sounds like he's going into a fight. And he's trash talking like you would expect somebody to talk shit going into a fight. But he talks shit and you believe it. You know, you don't want to be on the other end of it. You don't want to be standing across the ring from someone like that. He just gives off that vibe. So I love this, and I very much am looking forward to the day where he gets to do more talking. Because right now he's doing these short promos, and then everything else he says is just, "I love you, Solo." But very soon, hopefully, we will get to a point where that changes and that flips. And we'll get to see him do some longer promos. Cody and Tama Tonga, they started the match. Once Fatu finally tagged in, he went to work on Jimmy. And Jacob landed his pop-up Samoan drop. Show went to a picture-in-picture break. The show came back. Tama Tonga tagged in and started doing his weird mating call that he does. That's what he was doing. So Fatu tagged back in, landed a hip attack on Jimmy twice. Fatu then placed Jimmy on the top rope and screamed, "I love you, Solo." Jimmy, though, was able to fight back, knocked him off the ropes, and then Jimmy hit a splash. Then he got the tag to Cody. So in comes the WWE champion. Cody did the snap power slam to Tama Tonga. Tonga received a disaster kick. Fatu and Tonga, they were on the outside, and Cody hit a suicide dive out onto both men. Back inside, Cody set up for a crossroads on Tama Tonga, but he countered into a DDT for a 2 count. Cody lifted Tonga and then perched him on top while Jimmy went to, he tagged in and he went to the opposite corner. And then they did a variation of the old Power and Glory finish. We see FTR do this in AEW, and I can't believe that more teams haven't adopted this move over the years. The old Powerplex finish, where one partner goes to one end of the ring on top, the other partner goes, not the opposite corner, but they go to the other end of the ring on the same side, and you do the superplex, and as soon as you land on the superplex, the partner comes off with the splash. See, that when they used to do the move back then, Power and Glory, it always looks best when you don't let too much time go by after the superplex. Like, you hit the superplex and get the hell out of the way, and the guy's already in mid-flight. It's just, I always thought it was just such a great looking finish. It's one of the reasons why I was surprised that they never got even a short run with those tag team titles, because they absolutely could have gotten a run back then and then dropped them to like LOD or something, but it just didn't work out. But I love that finish. So Cody responded with a Cody cutter on Fatu, and Jimmy then sent Fatu over the announce desk. By the way, I have to mention this. On commentary, Joe Tessitore, and Wade Barrett did this too, it wasn't just Joe, but they kept calling Fatu. They did this multiple times. Like, they pronounced it as Fatu, which I've never heard any of the announcers pronounce it that way before. So I don't know if that's like a new directive or that's just, if that's just the way they do it. I've just never heard any of the announcers call him Jacob Fatu. Just weird. Just very weird. So Kevin Owens walks down the aisle. Cody sees him, and he bails out of the ring to go brawl with him, leaving Jimmy high and dry, like Hogan did to the Macho Man on Main Event that time against the Twin Towers. Inside the ring, though, Jimmy speared Tama Tonga, and then he went to the top rope for an Uso splash. Had the match won, but Fatu pulled Jimmy to the outside before the 3 count. Fatu then tagged in officially, and he slammed Jimmy's head on the desk before rolling him back inside. And Fatu then hit an Impaler DDT and then hit his moonsault to win it for the Bloodline. Meanwhile, they cut to Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, who were brawling back into the arena, and now they're kind of in the crowd, and they're on top of some equipment cases. Owens set up for a pile driver. Instead, though, Cody speared him, and the two of them went through 2 tables down below. Owens took the bump in a very weird way, where it was almost like he was afraid, like he was looking behind him, and it looked like a rough landing, but I think he's okay. But anyway, they crash through the tables, and both men are down selling their respective injuries as the show went off the air. So a perfectly average main event, but I was happy to see Fatu. I was happy to see Fatu pick up the win here for his team. I was happy to see that. And the reason I was happy to see that is obviously Jacob Fatu picked up a big win, so it's good for him. But also it plays into, potentially anyway, it plays into the storylines. Because Cody left the ring. He left Jimmy all by himself. Didn't mean to, but he did. And if they want to now, they can play this up for more drama going into the Royal Rumble and going into whenever it is that they want to make you believe that Roman Reigns may potentially challenge Cody Rhodes, which is not going to happen. Not anytime soon. I'm sure eventually there'll be a third match, but I don't see them doing Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. I mean, to me, that's not the kind of match that you book on like a Saturday night's main event, which you're not going to do that anyway because the Rumble is a week later. And they said Roman intends to win the Rumble. That's how he will get his shot at Cody. But Roman ain't winning the Rumble. So they want you to think we're going to get that match. And in the meantime, you could still build up tension. You know, I would be shocked if this doesn't get brought up in a segment with Cody and Jimmy next week. You left me, Oos. You left me all by myself. Jimmy's with Roman, right? They're part of the bloodline. And so creates a little friction there to get you thinking that, oh, okay, you know, building up some tension for Cody and Roman, which ends up not happening. The match I said earlier, though, the match that they are going to build to, I think, for WrestleMania is Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, because if not that, I honestly don't even know what you do with those two. I would love to see a Roman Reigns Jacob Fatu match at WrestleMania. I just don't get the sense it's going to happen. And there are other bigger matches you could do with Roman, like Roman and Punk, right? That's another rumor that's been going around, a potential WrestleMania match. There's a lot of potential WrestleMania matches being rumored right now. Roman and Punk is one. Cody and John Cena is another. Today, the latest news from Mike Johnson, Gunther, and Logan Paul. You know, for the World Heavyweight Championship. Does that mean that all of these matches are going to happen? No. Are some of them going to happen? Yes. Because these are pretty credible sources that are reporting this. But these are just internal discussions. This is not confirmed. They're internal conversations that are happening. What matches ultimately they'll settle on, we don't know. But if not Solo and Jacob, like what would you have them doing at WrestleMania? So I think that has to be the direction here. I hope Solo Sikoa is going to be on the show next week. I hope we at least, if nothing else, see the first real tease, the first real crack in the armor of this new bloodline. That's what would interest me. There's nothing else with this new bloodline that would hold my interest at this point, other than the beginning of the destruction of that group as we know it, even if it's just kicking Solo out and Jacob taking over as the leader. But that's where I see this thing heading. So a show tonight that got better in hour number 3, but I was mostly bored, honestly, by the first 2 hours. The good news is SmackDown is not permanently 3 hours. Triple H said so. He was on, I don't know what show it was. It might have been the Sports Illustrated Media Podcast. But he did confirm that SmackDown is only 3 hours temporarily. And that was a rumor, back months ago when this was first talked about, that it might be 3 hours until the middle of the year. So nothing is confirmed as far as the length, but my guess is this show is going to be 3 hours, at least up to WrestleMania and likely into June. And then it reverts back to 2 hours, which is what this show should be. In the meantime, though, it's 3 hours. And it does feel like you have a 2-hour roster being stretched to 3. And you've got to make some moves and make some transfers while you have this transfer window open, because the show needs it. You watch the show, and it could absolutely benefit from a few fresh faces on this show, including NXT. And I hope they take advantage of this transfer window and they don't just keep talking about it and just move the fucking announcers. Make some real moves here. That's what I'm waiting to see. Drew McIntyre should be chief among them. This show could use someone like Drew McIntyre. Absolutely. And maybe with any luck, AJ Styles will be back soon from his foot injury. Although they may move him to Raw. I don't know. They could use him too, though, on SmackDown. A healthy AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre and a couple of NXT call-ups would make a world of difference. Let's take a look at the Twitter poll here. What did you think of SmackDown for January 10th? 45% thumbs up, 55% thumbs down. I see I wasn't the only one disillusioned with this show tonight. Not a terrible show by any means. It wasn't a very exciting show. So at Solomonster is where you can go vote. Let me also just mention, there will be no SmackDown review next week. House of Glory is going to be in Chicago, which means I am going to be in Chicago. And so that is where I will be. So just be aware of that. We'll be here for Raw. We'll be here for Dynamite. But there will be no SmackDown review next Friday. So whatever happens with Solo Sikoa, we'll have to save it for the podcast that weekend, I'm afraid. That's the way it goes. That's the way that it goes. All right, let's take a look at your super chats here. I am curious what you guys thought of this SmackDown show tonight. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Let me circle back to the early ones first. Let's see here. Early bird gets the worm, huh? Fatu. Can't get over that. Jacob Fatu. Hey, Prince Vegeta. Thank you for the $4.99. What are your definitive top 5 matches in Cody Rhodes' career so far? I don't know about top 5 as far as like ranking them. I know that Cody and Dustin from Double or Nothing is in there. And Cody and Roman from WrestleMania this year, obviously, right? Finishing the story, that has to be in there. I feel like that Hell in a Cell match with Seth, because of the whole torn pec thing, probably has to be in there. I love the tag team title match with him and Goldust against the Shield from Battleground in 2013. If I had to pick another AEW match, I don't know. Maybe the ladder match with Sammy. Honestly, when it comes to AEW matches for Cody, I think I'm just going to stick with Cody and Dustin. To me, that's the one right there. The rest are all going to be WWE. DEH Sires, with the lack of a roster for SmackDown, why not use the transfer excuse to give reps to NXT talent without calling them up yet, like Fraxium, Stephanie, Wes, and Julia? We don't need Stephanie and Julia on the main roster until they're on the main roster. And Julia now is the NXT Women's Champion, so she doesn't need to be on the main roster until they're ready to call her up. The other ones, I agree. There's no harm in giving them reps on TV. Wesley, Fraxium, Gallus, Tony D'Angelo. I think they should. They should start with SmackDown. SmackDown could use them. Well, our boy Sidro is with us, and I see that he has brought the jokes. So let's see here. Shout out to Sidro, by the way. Good to have you with us tonight, brother. Did you hear about the Dolphin romance? They really clicked. And breaking news, you hear about the robbery at the glue factory. Apparently, it was a stick-up. Yep, that's Sidro. I met a giant once. I didn't know what to say, so I just used big words. What do you call a cow with only 2 legs? Lean beef. That one was pretty good. I'll give you that one. No sloppy seconds tonight, is right? Yeah, good. You're finally coming around. Pudgy Walsh says WrestleMania 5. It seemed like part of the crowd was for Savage. Could they have made the Luster the heel? Would that have worked? Yeah, I mean, look, they could have made it work if they wanted to, but Hogan was still super over, though, as a babyface. It was the right move for him to be the babyface. Hogan was still the guy then. You know? If I had the power to book it, I would have booked it. You know, up to that point, having done what they did, I would have booked it the same way. You know, because Hogan was the golden goose. But you did get to a point in like 90, 91 where they should have tried with Hogan as a heel. I think there was definitely money to be made even then, and not just in 96. Arabian Night 2000. Tessitore is bland when it comes to play-by-play. He barely knows people's moves, and the table spot, he had zero emotion. Slap in the face to Corey going to NXT. Yeah, Joe was off tonight. There was something off about him. I don't know. The enthusiasm, it was part of it, but something was off. Justin G, seen any of the YouTube Last Meal series? What's yours? I have not, actually. I've not seen the Last Meal series. I've seen Hot Ones. I wouldn't last one wing on Hot Ones. It would be the shortest, most boring episode you've ever seen. What's my last meal? Well, I mean, I would say a good piece of filet mignon would be nice. I'll take Popeyes though. It's good with me. I'm a simple man. Chris O'Neill, I'm calling it now. Jacob will have the most eliminations in the Rumble. Yeah, well, Chris is the one I referenced earlier. I agree. I think he gets the Diesel spot this year. I think that's the way to go. Trill Mexican, 305. Says, I love you, Solo. You played Back to Love. I know this is going to be an awesome review tonight. If for no other reason, Back to Love was played. Boy, you really like that song. I do too, but everybody in the chat needs to find somebody in their life to love the way that Trill Mexican loved that song. The way that Jacob Fatu loves Solo Sikoa. Find yourself that person and hold on to them like death. Bobbert Reviews, thank you for the 23. Taboo Hogan. Steve Joseph. Bobbert 33. I always wonder though, what happened to the first 32? Did you kill them? Is that what happened? You killed the first 32? And now we're left with Bobbert 33? Steve Joseph, the West Wing episodes are back on Max. Yes, thank you. I know. I got like so many emails about that. Thank you. See? The pressure campaign worked. Strength in numbers. People were pissed. David Thiering. David Thiering was the one who popped the cork on Goldberg. Let the party begin. It's never a party until David is with us and gets that party started. And of course, no party would be complete without M. Mills. Dropping 32 for Liver Morgan. M. Mills, thank you. I hope you're having a great night. Hoffenheim, how are you doing, guys? I'm doing very well, Hoffenheim. How are you doing? How is everybody doing? Visa. Tiffany Stratton is very annoying. Well, she's a heel. Even though people cheer for her, she is a heel. So I kind of feel like that's the point. Tonga Loa Superfan with the $5. Punk and Rock forgot their lines on their first NXT appearance. Tonga Loa would not have made that mistake. He would have a 30-minute promo ready to go. That sounds awful. A 30-minute Tonga Loa promo? Jerome Eugenio, Cody can't get away from this Bloodline storyline. It's going to haunt him until the day he retires. Cody may have to eventually give in like Sting did when Sting joined the NWO. He's going to have to join the Bloodline. He's already got the tat. What's a few more? Cody's going to have the tribal tattoo. Cody's going to become the High Chief. He's going to become the Tribal Chief. Sean D. Kevin Owens is right. How is he a heel? Well, because he does heelish things. I mean, come on. He tried to kill Randy Orton. What do you mean, how is he the heel? Randy Orton is beloved, and he tried to break the man's neck. We haven't seen him since. Base Beerus says, buy or sell. DX against the Brothers of Destruction or Flair's last match? DX against the Brothers of Destruction, because nobody almost, I can't even say almost, nobody died during the match and came back to life. Didn't Flair say he had a heart attack during the match? Like he revealed this when he was on Rampage Jackson's podcast. At least DX and the Brothers of Destruction was entertainingly awful. It's like whatever could go wrong in that match did go wrong. Triple H tore his pec. Kane's mask went flying off. I think there was a Shawn Michaels moonsault where he fucking kneed Undertaker in the face. Anything that could go wrong went wrong in that match. And that image of bald Shawn Michaels is just cursed. Cursed. Joseph Stewart. Could Raven have been a top star in WCW? Yes. Not with those guys on top who were on top, because they were never going to allow it to happen. But yes, he could have. Also, do you think that Raven should go into the WWE Hall of Fame? Yeah, I think so. He's been in the business a long time, right? Scotty Flamingo, Johnny Polo. Raven obviously is where he had his greatest success in ECW, but he also had a run as Raven in WWE and of course WCW with the Flock. Raven's Flock. Powerful one. Doesn't Roman still have a rematch clause? He never did get his one-on-one rematch. Why is he entering the Royal Rumble? Why not just challenge Cody directly? They even actually addressed this on commentary tonight. They don't do automatic rematches anymore. So there was no rematch clause. There is no more rematch clause. Which I like, that people don't just automatically get a rematch. You want them to get a rematch, that's fine, but it shouldn't always be automatic. It's just annoying. Joseph Stewart. Hey, there's Perk Angle with us. Joseph Stewart, have you seen the Masters of the Universe movie with Dolph Lundgren as He-Man and Frank Langella as Skeletor? I'm actually watching that movie right now. I watched that movie as a kid many times. As I recall, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I think the part that used to really bother me is if I remember, Courtney Cox is in the movie, and I think her parents are killed or something. Something happens in the movie, but like it really upset me as a kid. Again, it's been a while since I've seen it. But yes, I've seen that movie. I told you I was a big He-Man fan as a kid. I used to go running through the friggin' apartment with my sword and crash into the Lazy Boy. The holes I ripped in that thing. Base Beer says Armageddon Hell in a Cell 2025. Cody, Roman, Randy, Cena, Punk, Rock. Would you replace anyone? Who wins? I mean, I'm not even doing that. I hate multi-man Hell in a Cell. Thankfully, they only did the one. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. If you did that match, though, Cody's their guy, so I go Cody. Nick Rosso. I've heard reports that the direction for Rhea at WrestleMania is a rematch with Becky, and I pray that is not the plan. Also, do we see Aleister Black return in April? If so, I hope he doesn't get the Def Rebel treatment. I definitely think he's on his way back to WWE. They're saying, boo Ruther. Boo Ruther. Yeah, I hope it's not Rhea and Becky. If they just go back to that match after Rhea beat her fair and square last year, when there's other people I would much rather see Rhea in the ring with, like Bianca and Io. Yeah, I think that would be terrible. The match will be good, but I just think that there are better opponents for her. Arabian Night 2000. If Malachi comes back to WWE in time for WrestleMania season, who do you see him working? I could see Black against LA Knight for the US title at WrestleMania, or Black against Drew. I mean, I have no idea. It depends what brand he's on, and it depends if he's a face or a heel. There's so many factors involved. I'd love to see him wrestle all these guys. You know, him and Drew, him and Punk, him and Seth, him and Cody. With the history they have from AEW, it would be fun to play off of that. David Thiering, hit that like button, or Goulberg will come visit you in your sleep. You know, rumor has it that Bret Hart has woken up in a cold sweat because of that in the middle of the night sometimes. Sidro with the 5. Why shouldn't you play hide and seek at a hospital? You'll always be found in the ICU. Also, you hear about the gardener who was excited for spring. She wet her plants. Base Beerus, concessions Kane or corporate Kane? Buy or sell? Concessions Kane. Sidro. Flat earthers have nothing to fear but sphere itself. Come up with these. I just don't understand. Toby. 28 months of channel membership. Look at Tony. Look at Toby. Look at Toby, the badass over here. So badass, I can't even get his name right. Don't forget to use that VPN to see SmackDown in the US without commercials. Yeah, it's a good public service announcement for all of you out there. Especially with Raw now on Netflix too. Like, now more than ever, you can get a use out of that VPN. And it just so happens that I have a code waiting for you for 4 free months of ExpressVPN. Go find it in the description down below. You can thank me later. Arabian Night 2000. Are the Profits dunzo? They're barely used. Montez could be huge. I don't get it. He should leave and prove them wrong. Like Santana, he would kill it everywhere. If he was motivated to go out there and hit the indie scene and just wrestle everywhere.
You suck.
I think it's the boo you suck right there at the very end that just seals the deal. If he was motivated to go out there and hit the indie scene and just work everywhere he could, I think he would kill it. I don't think it's a matter of them not realizing the talent he has, but sometimes a person leaves and they get themselves super over somewhere else and they increase their stock. And it makes them more attractive to the company in, you know, coming back. That's what happened with Drew. It's just, I don't get it. I don't understand. I still don't understand after the Elimination Chamber 2 years ago how they didn't at least try. You know, how they didn't at least attempt something. I thought coming out of WrestleMania that year, they could build, you know, 2 young guys, a U.S. title feud around Montez Ford and Austin Theory. Look what happened to Theory coming out of that match with John Cena. He ended up even worse than Montez Ford. Santana is killing it, though. You're not wrong about that. I see it firsthand every month. But House of Glory, TNA, you know, everything he does. He keeps proving people wrong. People just were like, oh, he's that tag team guy. No, he's more than that. Every time he goes out there and he has one of these matches, he drives his stock up that much more. Tactical Butt Cheek, 93. Fatal 4-Way, who takes it? Boyhood Dream Sean, OGDX Sean, Mid-2000 Sean, IC Champion Sean. Also, Raw was mid. Your review made up for it. Solomonster is GOAT. Thank you, Tactical Butt Cheek. I like how only the one butt cheek is tactical. Fatal 4-Way, who takes it? Of the ones you mentioned here, OGDX HBK is the one who was probably most fucked up, but 97 Sean was untouchable. He was untouchable. Like he was incredible, bell to bell in the ring. I'm going with 97 OGDX Sean. That's what I'm going with. Ricky Cornflakes, can you make an NBA podcast? You can call yourself the Solomonster. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. That sounds like a terrible idea. But thank you, Ricky. Holiday 197. Cody proved Kevin's point tonight about Cody turning his back on Kevin. Cody abandoned Jimmy to charge out of the ring at Kevin into the back. Yes, and it was Kevin who caused it. See, it's this weird little thing going on there. Yes, he did. Tonight anyway, he proved Kevin right. It's true. Base Beer says Vince used to pronounce Sabu that same way. Sabu? Did he? I don't remember. Did Vince used to call him Sabu? We got Jay Lopez celebrating 6 months of membership with 2 3-hour shows and ongoing Saturday night's main events. Bizarre entrance music changes. How are we going to make it, Solo? We will need you. Well, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So as long as you got me around, you're okay. I'll get you through it. Tongaloa Superfan. Tongaloa redefined what it means to be a professional wrestler in 2024. Maybe he'll redefine what a 5-star match is in 2025. He might redefine it, just not in the way that you imagine. Jeremy Rose, what are your top 5 Raw moments of all time? Well, you got to check the list. I did a list years ago. The top 30 moments in Raw history. You can find out right there. It's all right there, brother. I did a whole podcast on it. But I'll tell you one right off the bat that I loved was the Zamboni. Austin on the Zamboni, and just the crowd reaction when he rode that thing down to the ring. He moved the ring and then dove off, and what a moment. Sidro, Joe Test tonight was nothing but an average Joe. That's right. Yeah, very good. Very good, Sidro. SMG Kobe. Won't happen anytime soon, but I feel like Cody as a heel would be way more interesting and complex. He could be a huge egomaniac going full Homelander. Well, who's to say it won't happen? But it's not happening right now. He's their top babyface. So it would be foolish to turn him right now. I agree. I think there's a great heel turn in there, and I hope when the time is right, unlike Vince, who chickened out with John Cena, who was all ready to go heel in 2012, and they backed out. When the time is right, hopefully that won't happen. Hopefully they won't chicken out, and they go full-fledged into it. But it ain't happening anytime soon. I can tell you that. We got 3.5 minutes left on our goal, our super chat goal. I think we're 8 out of 10. That bonus be the booker. So that's your little countdown alert there. 3.5 minutes left in the deadline. Jamie Dorsch, any word if Eric Bischoff was pissed off that Jimmy Hart stole his spot on Raw? I don't know. I would ask him, but can't really have a conversation with somebody because Hogan stopped short, and I think he went up all the way in. So Eventually, though, you know, Hogan will have to go to the bathroom, so he'll come out eventually. Thank you, Jamie. Good old Jamie Dorsch coming in. David Thiering with the $20 super chat. You surprised me when you said your last meal wasn't noodle pudding. Well, I just said filet mignon. That doesn't mean I can't have noodle pudding with it. Noodle pudding and filet mignon. With a side of Popeyes. It's going to be my final meal. If I'm going to have a final meal, I'm going to go all the way with it. WWE Iceman 96 V12. Hitting the big 2-9 next Friday, so I'm sad there's no live stream, but duty calls at House of Glory. Have fun and be safe, brother. Well, Iceman, here's a very happy early birthday from me to you. I will not be here, but I will be here in spirit. But I'm wishing you a very happy early 29th birthday. Have a Jack and Coke on me. Ashley with the $4.99. Hi, Solo. Stuck in Alabama with snow, which is turning into ice, so the city is closed down. Interesting Seth interview with Chris Van Vliet this week. It was, although it's kind of a mix of shoot and kayfabe. I like the way he kind of weaves the two together. But yeah, I mean, it's wacky weather in a lot of different places. The wind that we had here this week in New York, honestly, it's like nothing I had ever heard before. You could hear it.
Off is a direction you can fuck.
Wow. David telling you where you can go. I see. With that, we have hit the goal. David sealed the deal. Good old David, man, coming in the clutch. He's the clutch man. Anyway, Ashley, stay safe. Hopefully it'll melt soon. Jeremy Rose, is Randy paralyzed? What the fuck? It was just a pile driver. It was a package pile driver. Actually, no. Cody got the package pile driver. Randy did get just a regular pile driver. But Randy is also 40-something years old. And he's had a history of back and spinal issues, and so I guess it just affected him more than the average person. What do you want from me? I thought he would be back by now. I thought he would be back by now. Retro KOH with the 22 months of membership. Oh, look at Uffman. Uffman just came in with 5 gifted memberships. Talk about clutch. Retro says, I disagree. Flair's last match is better than DX against the Brothers of Destruction because Flair's last match didn't ruin a perfect retirement. Flair did that a long time ago. Well, that's true, but I maintain what I said. There were at least moments where you could look at that match and laugh. In Flair's match, there was nothing funny about it. It was sad. It was sad. It was pathetic. And it never should have happened. But you're not wrong. Delwyn Jones. What's going on, Delwyn? Thank you for the 25. SmackDown was good, not amazing, but I thought the women's 4-way match was really good. Ending is interesting. Seeds planted, Bianca and Naomi accidentally. This Rumble is insane. Insanely stacked. Cena won't win, got the feeling Rock will be there to win. You gotta listen to the scenario that I pitched earlier in the week. Talked about it on TNT. Watch out for number 31. That's what I would do. If you were going to have him win, that's the way to do it. David Thiering, and the response to Sidro's jokes tonight is this super chat booing. I'm kidding. Love you, Sidro. Oh, it's just a love fest in here. It's a big love fest. George Sekman. Great idea for a tag team. Oba Femi and Omos. Oba Omos Protection Services. That would be a very intimidating team. Can you imagine Oba Femi and Omos against the Motor City Machine Guns? Like what that would look like, them standing in the ring? They would look like children. You would watch that match, and if you were like not a fan and didn't know who the Machine Guns were, you would look at that and go, how is this legal? How are they letting kids in the ring to wrestle these two giant men? Arabian Night, surprise, Triple H didn't bring back EC3 like Karrion Kross.
Look, everyone, it's Samoa BRO.
What does he need EC3 for? He's already got Austin Theory. He duffs vids, thank you. Truly Spencer, PDX. Did you catch my Solomonster sign in the upper deck? I did not. I did not. I have to check my Twitter feed. Maybe somebody else did. Sometimes they'll screenshot them for me. But thank you for representing the podcast, brother. I appreciate that. Anytime somebody brings a sign to one of these shows, let alone gets it on TV, but that's just very cool. Thank you. Tongaloa Superfan, do you remember that Fightful report last month about Rock and Cody filming something together? Wonder what that was all about. Yeah, it's probably just a commercial. They do commercial shoots all the time. It could have just been something like that for Mania. Maybe there were other people there. Who knows? Who knows? And these things are changing so often. It's like, I don't read too much into any one thing like that, you know? David Thiering with the 20. That's the 20 that put us over the top. Thank you, David.
You suck.
Damn right you do. David says, Wednesday, Be the Booker off is the direction that you can find. Oh, that's the one that unlocked it. Bonus, Be the Booker unlocked. That's right, you're getting 2 rounds of Be the Booker tonight. After what happened on Wednesday night, I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We're going to find out, though. Uffman Entertainment, extra Be the Booker. Let's do this. Hey, Uffman, thank you for the 20 spots and the gifted memberships. Uffman is... There's a reason why the word man is in his name. Because he is indeed the man. Boney, I think Gunther should move to SmackDown. It's telling that Raw's top champion was not on the show for Netflix's premiere. Maybe trade him for Roman. Well, if today's report from PW Insider is to be believed, he ain't going nowhere. As far as who he might be working with at WrestleMania. Duff's Vids with a 1999. Why can you never trust atoms? They make up everything. Thank you, Solo, for all the reviews. Did you just pull a Sidro on me? Did you just pull a Sidro on me? Jeremy Rose, how do you see Cena getting his title match if he even does? Royal Rumble, King of the Ring, Money in the Bank, or Random Challenge? Again, I just talked about. I laid this all out on the. It makes me very sad that you don't listen to the podcast, Jeremy. You have turned this into a very sad stream. But I've laid it out. I've laid out multiple scenarios, but one that absolutely will have him winning number 17. I think it's inevitable that he will win number 17. I do not think it has to happen, nor should it happen at WrestleMania. The rest of it, though, again, I filled out in my pitch that I laid out. Yuri, does anyone know anything about where Blitzkrieg went after his short stint in WCW? And what are your hopes for Aleister Black in WWE? I think that he'll definitely have a better shot at success than he did under Vince. But as far as Blitzkrieg, I could have sworn that I had heard he got completely out of the business and ended up working in IT. Somebody can check that out and confirm that for me, but I'm pretty sure that's what he ended up doing. Probably made more in IT than he would have wrestling. Base Beerus, Jericho against Jarrett, AEW World Title, sometime this year. Fuck. Why? Why even say that? That's how we end the Super Chats, with that horrible pitch, that horrendous pitch. Somebody has to save us. Chris Jericho, the Learning Tree, against the Last Outlaw, Jeff Jarrett, for the AEW World Title in 2025. I think that would be the end for me. I really do. As far as like the Dynamite stuff, I think that would be it. I think I'd have to cash out at that point. That could be an ROH world. Yeah, it could be an ROH World Title match. You want to do that in Ring of Honor, you go right ahead. We ain't doing that shit in AEW. All right, well, not only did we hit the first goal, we hit the Super Chat goal as well, which means that we are going to be doing not one, but 2 rounds of Be the Booker tonight, thanks to you guys. So I may be a glutton for punishment here, but let's get to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
I got to give a shout out to someone. I have to give a shout out to Chris Miner, who put this amazing poster together. This is the Be the Booker card that I booked, because we did like 3 rounds the other night. This is the card, the super card, that I put together the other night in Be the Booker. Look at this. We had Vince Russo in the main event against Alberto Del Rio in a stretcher match as part of our triple main event, which also included Abyss against Solo Sikoa, and for the Universal Championship, Goldberg against Arnold Schwarzenegger. I would certainly hope that we can do better than what we have here. While this is a very nice poster, I certainly hope we can do a better job than we did the other night. Putting the butts in seats. That's right. All right. Well, this is going to be round number 1. What do you think? We do stipulations in round 2? We'll do stipulations in round 2. We'll keep it clean here in round 1. We begin with what do they call themselves again? Big Miz or Miz Show? Did I say Big Miz? Miz Show. The Miz and the Big Show. They were the unified tag team champions. Big Show. How many tag team partners has Big Show had over the years? Undertaker, Jericho, Miz, Billy Gunn, right? They were Shogun. Who else? Kane, right? Had a lot of tag team partners. All right, it's going to be Big Miz against Bobby the Brain Heenan's Brainbusters, Arn Anderson, and Tully Blanchard. The Horsemen. Let's just call them what they are. They're the Horsemen. And because of that, I give it the bell. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I did. And it's done. The deed is done. We're off to the races. Show Miz was underrated. I remember Big Show and Jericho actually were a very good tag team. I don't remember too much about Big Show and Miz, though. Bell for Bobby. Yeah, I mean, I see Bobby Heenan. I'd probably just automatically give it the bell. How can you not automatically bell Bobby Heenan? Draven says he went to the show tonight. What'd you think, Draven? Because I thought the first hour and the second hour were pretty freaking boring. Third hour was the best of the three. We begin with someone who was actually on the SmackDown card tonight. She has been double booked. Michin is starting us off here. All right, it's going to be Michin, who did not have a lot of luck tonight. Michin is going to be taking on Zoe Stark. Not a marquee match. Might not be the best match on the card when the show is fully booked. But I do think that those two could go out there and have a good match. It's a good match. Not a great match. It's a good match. I see you all disagree with me, but there's a reason why I'm booking the card and not you. Now we come to our first of two main events tonight. We had horrible luck the other night. I'm hoping our luck could change here. Oh my goodness. Hollywood Hulk Hogan is with us in Be the Booker. Hollywood Hogan would not be anywhere but the main event. He would not allow it. He would pull his creative control club, which I'm sure he's going to pull tonight. But of all weeks, we get Hulk Hogan in the main event here of Be the Booker. Can you imagine that? Of all the weeks? Of all the weeks? Hollywood Hogan is going to be taking on... Oh my God. I am physically in pain at the thought of Hollywood Hogan against Tyrus for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. See, Tyrus is the kind of guy that Hogan would have vanquished back in like 1987. And that would have been like a quick program, and that would have been the end of it. Hogan's going to show up. He's going to try to relate to Tyrus. He's going to show up. He's going to have a backwards cap on. He's going to have some gold chains around his neck. It's not going to work. It's not going to work, Hulk. The string of horrible main events continues. Tyrus pretty much killed the NWA title. Well, it was mostly dead anyway, but yes, I agree. Tyrus would make me root for Hogan, says JP Reckless. All right. Well, okay. So I said we're going to do stips, right? All right. We're going to do stipulations here. Tag team match is going to be a stretcher match. That was our main event the other night. We had a stretcher match. Now we have a tag team. How does a tag team stretcher match work? Has there ever been a tag team stretcher match? I don't think there has been. We begin with Skip and Zip. And I'm about to dip if I book any more matches like this. The Body Donnas. And look who's there in the middle. Old Tammy. Tammy, Jim Ross talked this week about the fact that Tammy tried to get with him after his wife passed away. She said, I could cook, I could clean, we can get down, we can get busy. We can start bumping uglies. And even JR was like, I don't want any piece of this. The Body Donnas are going to be in a tag team stretcher match against Men on a Fucking Mission. I mean, I think if you wanted to just completely kill the WWF in 1995, like that would have been like your main program right there. The Body Donnas against Men on a Mission. That would do it. That would pretty much do it. I mean, they were already running high school gyms at that point for their syndicated shows, but that would have pretty much sealed the deal. The streak continues. I don't think we're ever going to see another clean sweep again at this rate. I think that the Booker here may have passed his prime. We're in Vince McMahon 2019 territory here now. All right, we need a stipulation for our women's match. It's going to be a strap match. A women's strap match. That is what we are going to be booking here. So now we know what we're dealing with. Yeah, Bianca Belair should be in this match. She could use her braid. We begin with Nikki Cross. A very different Nikki Cross here as compared to the one that we have now in the Wyatt Six, who appear contractually 6 times a year. Nikki Cross in a strap match against Hikaru Shida. Nikki Cross and Hikaru Shida. I think that those two could have a good match. See, that's an interesting match that I never would have thought of. That's a first time ever match right there. Is it the Yappa Pie? No, it's not the Yappa Pie strap. I think that might be separate. I think there might be a separate Yappa Pie stipulation, I believe. I've been very, very generous tonight with the women's matches, just because we need something here. All right. This is it. This is it, guys. We get one more main event here. We get one more shot at this. Oh boy. Oh my God. We're going to have an exploding barbed wire death match. I mean, if you're going to go out, you go out with a bang. Exploding barbed wire death match is our main event for tonight. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? We have Jake the Snake Roberts. I think if you told Jake that he was going to be in an exploding barbed wire death match, he would just leave. As long as he got paid up front, he would just leave. Like, he'll leave out the back door. He ain't sticking around. Here we go. Heel Jake. Are you fucking kidding me? I can't get away from this guy. Hollywood Hulk Hogan for the second time tonight. I told you he was going to use his creative control. He was going to pull that shit. He can't let anybody else get the main event. He had to have both of them. He booked himself in both main events on this show. Motherfucker. That right there is the creative control card being pulled. Because nobody else can get the main event except Hollywood Hogan. Then you'll have Eric Bischoff. Oh, he never pulled the creative control card. Sting didn't have a tan. Fuck you. Fuck all these people. Fuck every last one of them. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Why do you have two images of Hollywood Hogan? Because there are certain top stars who are in Be the Booker twice. And there are different images for both. Hogan happens to be one of them. My God. I don't even know. I don't even know where we go from here. I just don't know, man. Base Beerus, Save Us Y2J, or Slapnuts. Yuri says Beerus is trying to kill the territory. Oh, Beerus doesn't have to worry about anything. I just killed the territory. The territory is officially dead. Let me have it. There he is again.
You suck.
Oz and Glorious. Blitzkrieg works as a registered nurse, which makes him a more valuable member of humanity and society than anybody else can buy. Look, I'm pretty sure he worked in IT. I want somebody to check on this. I want somebody to look into immediately after he was done wrestling what he was doing, because I'm almost positive he worked in IT. I didn't just pull that out of my ass. He might be a registered nurse now, but I could have sworn he worked in IT, unless I'm getting him confused with somebody else. Yuri says Hulk Hogan's Real American Booze. Hogan versus... Oh, I see what you did there. Booze. Hogan versus Tyrus would be worse than Zach Gowen's prosthetic leg against Moppy. Retro KOH. A stretcher match involving Sunny is appropriate. She will run down Mabel It's terrible. She will run down Mabel drunk and send him packing. David Thiering, Hogan versus Tyrus, Solo roots for the Meteor. Yes, I'm rooting for a Meteor. I'm rooting for the Meteor every day, pretty much at this point. David says, this super chat is even more appropriate right now after both Be the Booker main events. Yuri says, Hogan essentially just Russo'd you. He did, didn't he? I think you're right. I think that's exactly what he did. I think he did Russo me. Vince Russo has struck again. Very appropriate to put that up there. So you are correct. I have been Russo'd for the second stream in a row. And I'm not very happy about it. Empower Spying Games. This is January 2023. Be the Booker all over again. Now, I think we're in a class of our own right now. That's where I think we are. Armed Anderson could take Hogan down. We need Armed Anderson to come save us. Wikipedia says registered nurse, ring the damn bell, concurs. No mention of IT. Well, I mean, if Wikipedia doesn't say it, then it must not be true. All right, well, I'll take your word for it. I'm still just stunned by what we have seen here tonight. Well, that's what I got for you. We'll have to take it for a spin again on Monday and hope that with a brand new week, our luck will change, right? You would think with a brand new week, the dawn of a new day, things will be better. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. We need some good cards that we can book. Got to get the people back in the building. We got to give them a reason to buy a ticket to come out to the show and put an ass every 18 inches. that card is not going to get the job done. Thank you for all of the support. Thank you for all the love, and I'm glad you're enjoying the new Super Chats. Goulberg, thanks you. I'm going to be back with another live stream for Netflix on Monday night, but before that, episode 896 of the podcast is coming up on Sunday. We're going to have a lot to talk about, a lot to cover on that show, including Hogan. So we'll get into all that, but until then, be well, stay safe, have yourselves a great weekend, and I will see you back here for more Sound Off on YouTube as we climb. Actually, let me check real quick before we end here. I have to see how close we are to 83,000. All right, we're 4. We are 4 subscribers away. So by the time we get to Monday, we will probably be celebrating 83K. So hit that subscribe button on your way out. Hit that like button. And I will see you back here for more Sound Off real soon. Until then, take care, guys. And don't forget to boo the Hulkster, especially after tonight. Fuck him.